It is the world's most secretive election. When a pope dies, ancient traditions begin. A silver hammer, a destroyed ring, over 100 cardinals locked away from the world, choosing the next leader of 1 billion faithful. White smoke. The path to a new pope, from Calaroga Shark Media, wherever you get your podcasts.
Calaroga Shark Media.
Hola, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. The stars came out for Conan O'Brien as he accepted the Mark Twain Prize for Humor. Some of those stars included Adam Sandler, John Malaney, and Sarah Silverman. David Letterman was the one to hand the actual prize to Conan O'Brien, and let's listen to what Conan had to say and take one guess who he's talking about here.
Twain was suspicious of populism, jingoism, imperialism, the money-obsessed mania of the Gilded Age, and any expression of mindless American might or self-importance. Above all, Twain was a patriot in the best sense of the world. He loved America, but knew it was deeply flawed. Twain wrote, "Patriotism is supporting your country all of the time, and your government when it deserves it."
All right, Conan, that's all good and well, but how about the comedy, man?
Some of you might be thinking, what does this have to do with comedy? It has everything to do with comedy. Everything. The comedy I have loved all my life. Comedy that is self-critical, deflating, and dedicated to the proposition that we are all flawed, absurd, and wallowing in the mud together. Twain is funny and important today because his comedy is a hilarious celebration of our fears, our ineptitude, and the glorious mess of being human. When we celebrate Twain, truly see him for who he was, we acknowledge our commonality and we move just a little closer together.
A few weeks earlier, Donald Trump had ousted the longtime president Deborah Rutter and board chairman David Rubenstein from the Kennedy Center. Conan said, "Thanks to the people who invited me here a few months ago, Deborah and David. Honestly, I don't know why they're not here tonight. I lost Wi-Fi in January. I guess they're stuck in traffic." And a special thanks to all the beautiful people who have worked here at the Kennedy Center for years and who are worried about what the future might bring. My eternal thanks for their selfless devotion to the arts. That got a standing O. Jumping around, John Malaney said, "It's an honor to be here at the Kennedy Center, or as it will be known next week, the Roy Cohn Pavilion for Big Strong Men Who Love Cats." Malaney tagged it with, "Congratulations to my friend Conan O'Brien on receiving the 26th and final Mark Twain Prize." Will Ferrell said the whole thing was a distraction because I'm supposed to be shutting down the Department of Education. Stephen Colbert did a bit with spicy chicken wings and joked, in light of the new leadership of the Kennedy Center, all of these are right wings and a couple of them are truly insane. Conan never backs down. Case in point, when he accepted the Mark Twain Prize, this was a very different place, and today they announced 2 board members, Bashar al-Assad and Skeletor. Assad is the former dictator of Syria. In case you're not hip on the cultural references there, I wasn't. David Letterman said, "I'm not a historian, but I believe history will show in the history for all time, this will have been the most entertaining gathering of the resistance ever." Nikki Glaser on the red carpet before the ceremony said, "I think it would be insane not to address the elephant in the room. It's in the air tonight. This night is about Conan, but it can be both." It seems like Nikki has quite been accepted into the cool kids club, right? She's at every event now. I wonder who her agent is. She's got the right people managing her career right now. And she's nailing it. Visible, but not too much. She needed to tap the brakes and did. Sarah Silverman said, "I just really miss the days when you, Conan, were America's only orange a-hole." Martin Short via video, "There's no more fitting recipient getting the last ever Twain Prize here at the Robert F. Kennedy Center. The whole thing went 2.5 hours. It will air on Netflix May 4th. It opened with, spoiler, the Masturbating Bear." Vulture observes that might have sent a message of resistance. When Conan stepped down from The Tonight Show, he was initially told he didn't have the rights to the various characters creating during his NBC years, including the Masturbating Bear. The bear was followed up by Robert Smigel as Triumph, declaring, "Thanks so much for coming, and also shame on you for being here. That should cover it, yes?" Also appearing Bill Burr, who needs to disappear for a while. Andy Richter. Uh-oh. Yep, that's it. The Mark Twain Prize is canceled because Andy Richter appeared. 100%. This was the last Mark Twain Prize. Write it down. Andy Richter kills shows like Ted McGinley in A Wet Dream. Tracy Morgan, Kumail Nanjiani, and Reggie Watts. Nanjiani noted that Conan's name is mentioned on the internet 93% of the time when people talk about Simpsons writers, even though Conan only has a writing credit on 3 out of the 781 episodes. Kumail joked, the names of the Simpson episodes that Conan wrote are Marge versus the Monorail and 2 other episodes. Sandler talked about when Conan got 1230. Everyone was going, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Right. When they said Conan, I swear to God, every effing guy, every comedian, there was no jealousy. We were like, F yeah, he's the best, man. We love you. You're faster than all of us. You're nicer than all of us. And I'm so happy this life was yours, buddy. The night ended with Conan O'Brien singing Rockin' in the Free World with Adam Sandler on guitar. Sure, why not? The UK Daily Mail used the headline, Woke Comedians Target Trump as they roast Conan O'Brien at the Kennedy Center. I mean, I don't know. Is David Letterman woke? Is Adam Sandler woke? Is Adam Sandler funny? Is Andy Richter funny? Is Andy Richter woke? Chelsea Handler is this week's Netflix special. It is called The Feeling. I did sit down and watch Bert Kreischer's special. I liked it a lot. It's just funny. There's no great takeaway. It doesn't mean anything. It's just jokes, but I was laughing. I think part of it, especially his opener, as a man in his mid-50s, I get it. I know what you're joking about there, so that was a lot of fun. For me, it is currently, softly, the best comedy special of the year. It's the first one all year, and it's already March 25th, that I will put in the top tier. I really, really don't have much yet. My list right now is top tier Bert, nothing else. The middle tier, Roy Wood, Ari Shaffir, and Gabe Iglesias. And then my didn't make it is quite long, including Schultz, Rosebud, DeStefano, Lopez was just a horrific. I might have to start a worst specials of the year list. Lisa Trigger, which was fine. Eliza and Bill Burr. And I've talked about this recently. I think that is not so much me being cranky. I think it's just people are on their 5th or 6th special, and it's a bit been there, done that, heard this before. We need some new voices in comedy. Bert went on Grace O'Malley's podcast, Disgraceful, and told a story about how he went to text his daughter, Georgia. The text wrote, I love you more than anyone will ever love you in this entire world. The problem, he has 2 Georgias in his phone, his daughter, Georgia, and the host of My Favorite Murder, Georgia Hardstark. He explained, Georgia, my daughter, has saved her name in my phone as Georgia, my favorite daughter. Georgia Hardstark is saved on my phone as Georgia, my favorite murder. I sent that text to Georgia Hardstark. She wrote back, oh God, I'm reading this crying, thinking it was from my dad. How sweet this is. I have to tell you, you have the wrong number. Now, I don't know if that story is the least bit true, but it is funny. Tomorrow on John Malaney's show, Pete Davidson, Lunel, Macpacker Henry Winkler, a funeral director, and music from the band Mannequin Pussy. Bowen Yang on his podcast was asked how much he was allowed to ad-lib on Wicked. Yang said, I was daunted by the biblical precision and just the passion everybody was bringing to it, but we're all in over our heads, except for director John Chu. He was the only person that needed to be above water with it and steer the ship. The rest of us were out to sea. Yang thought Chu would prank him by asking him to improvise after scripted takes. Yang also talked about imposter syndrome on SNL, revealing it was only when he took LSD on vacation that he could imagine himself on the show. Said, I was like, I don't think I can do this. What is me being on the show? What is that going to look like? That's going to feel crazy. I was on the beach. That's where I took the LSD. And then I got over that idea just by watching sketches on my phone of Bill Hader's Stefan. I hallucinated myself as Stefan. I was like, oh, I see it now. And I got to tell Bill that. James Corden's neighbors are annoyed with him. 18 complaints have been filed about a proposed den that James wants to build at the bottom of his garden. The neighbors are worried that it might make the noise from Corden's property even worse. One neighbor said of the Corden family, one of them plays the drums, which can often be heard on my terrace and occasionally inside my flat, even with the windows closed. Bill Maher's podcast had on Andrew Schultz, really, really good discussion there. Good takes from both of them on the current state of politics. As I put together the show today, the international crowd is really talking about an incident at a Mumbai comedy club. A mob violently ransacked said club, and the building has been partly demolished after one of India's most prominent comedians did a satirical song about a local politician. The Guardian tells us Kunal Kamra has a reputation for his acerbic comedy. He often pokes fun at political figures. He was at the Habitat Comedy Club in Mumbai Friday night and did a parody song about Eknath Shinde, hope I pronounced that correctly, the second most powerful figure in the local state government. The song referred to the deputy chief minister as a Gaddar, which apparently means traitor. That upset the leaders of one political party. On Sunday night, about 20 members of that party went to the Habitat Comedy Club and began to smash it apart, throwing chairs, tearing down posters, and breaking the lights. A few hours after the attack, Comer went on Instagram and posted a photo of himself holding up a copy of the Indian Constitution captioned, "The Only Way Forward." Some local ministers claim that the comedy club was illegal. A demolition team from the local council arrived at the venue on Monday and began demolishing part of the building on the grounds it had been illegally constructed. In a statement Monday, Habitat said it was shocked, worried, and extremely broken by the recent acts of vandalism targeting us. We have never been involved in the content performed by any artist. They are shutting down until, quote, we figure out the best way to provide a platform for free expression without putting ourselves and our property in jeopardy. In happier news, Saturday Night Live is teaming up with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It is an exhibition called SNL, Ladies and Gentlemen, 50 Years of Music. The exhibit places visitors in a recreation of Studio 8H. The experience mirrors the flow of the show, beginning with the cold open and moving into the home base stage where the hosts announce the musical guests. The exhibit also features costumes and props from SNL, including wardrobe from the Blues Brothers, the famous In a Box sketch, and the Sweeney Sisters. Musical guests who will be represented include Blondie, Run DMC, Mick Jagger, Miley Cyrus, Sabrina Carpenter, and Billie Eilish. The exhibit opens May 23rd at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. On Amy Poehler's new podcast, she told a story about winning Harvard's Hasty Pudding Theatrical's Woman of the Year title in 2015. She said the ceremony consisted of sniveling guys roasting me. One person said to Amy, "You're the poor man's Tina Fey. The kid said it right before I went up." Amy said, "I gave him the finger," which everybody was shocked about, and I don't know if it was the right, I guess, but I go, F you. Kyle Mooney is now Kyle M. He's moving on from that whole comedy business. He has a serious album. In a YouTube video, he says, "I don't want to be a clown anymore. I don't feel like I'm a character. I'm not a sketch." I think that's what most people think I am, but I'm not. His debut album has every genre of Western music. Kyle M. explains, "I sing every song, played every instrument. That's all there. Rock, country, R&B, dance. I promise this is art that's earnestly me. I promise there is nothing comedic about the Kyle M. project. He should team up with Adam Sandler." And out in L.A., Vultures Guaranteed is a new bi-weekly comedy show at L.A.'s Lyric Hyperion Theater. Good lineup tonight: Emily Catalano, a previous guest on this program, Naomi Ekperigin, Yasir Lester, and Robin Tran. That's a good show. Still catching up from the trip. Let's see what I haven't told you about. Katherine Ryan announced she's been diagnosed with skin cancer for the second time. She said in 2004 she had what was described as a golf ball-sized lump removed from her inner thigh. This time, tests have confirmed her mole to be early melanoma. Ken Jeong may return to sitcom world. This would be a sitcom inspired by former California Senator Barbara Boxer. Fox is developing How Can We Help? It is set in the 10th District of Boston and follows newly elected congressman and local stain removal tycoon Jimmy Choi as he causes all kinds of messes for his intrepid staff, none of whom voted for him. Can I send you guys a note right now? Don't bother. Don't make that. Not a good idea. How's that Dennis Leary show going, by the way, right? Whatever. Okay, you're such a hater, Johnny Mac. That's it for today. See you tomorrow.
It is the world's most secretive election. When a pope dies, ancient traditions begin. A silver hammer, a destroyed ring, over 100 cardinals locked away from the world, choosing the next leader of 1 billion faithful. White Smoke, the path to a new pope, from Calaroga Shark Media, wherever you get your podcasts.
If you're fascinated by UFOs, aliens, ghosts, demons, cryptid creatures like Bigfoot, Chupacabra, and Mothman, then I have the show for you, The Paranormal 60 with Dave Schrader. Each week, we investigate different claims of the supernatural and try to shed light into the darkness, bringing you the top guests and experts from around the world. enter the fray. Then join me, Dave Schrader, your host, as we investigate all aspects and claims of the supernatural and paranormal. Listen on all of your favorite podcast platforms: Good Pods, TuneIn, Pocket Casts, Deezer, Player FM, Amazon Music, Audible, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Google Podcasts, CastBox, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. The answers to life's biggest questions and miracles and mysteries awaits you. So join me each week, 2 brand new episodes of the best in paranormal podcasting, The Paranormal 60 with Dave Schrader.